Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dyson Leadership Podcast. This is something that we're going to be talking about today. I hear a lot of leadership experts, a lot of leadership coaches, a lot of different people talk about, but I feel like a lot of people don't take advantage or they just don't focus on it. So for 2025, I need you to promise me or join with me in doing this action. You ready for it? We're going to define our year or give ourselves a word, maybe it's a couple words, that we're going to focus on and we're going to remind ourselves and focus throughout the year on. Now, you might already be looking, going, what's a word going to do or a couple words going to do? I'm going to explain it. We're going to walk through it. So first off, you're going to have to pick a word, and I'm going to help you with what that might look like. Think about something you want to improve on this year. Something maybe you want to grow in, you want to do different this year. Somebody in a faith perspective, they might say they want to study more, and their word might be study. Somebody, they may want to pray more. Prayer might be their word. Maybe you're somebody in leadership and intentionality is your word, or empathy, authenticity. You have some word that's connected to what you want to achieve. Maybe you're like me, you're an entrepreneur. Growth may be your word. You want to see your business grow and be successful. Maybe you want to be more sentimental in this next year or nostalgic in this year. You pick a word that's related to that. Find some word that you feel drawn to, that's coming from your innermost being, that's deep inside you to your core, rooted in your values that you want to pursue. So for the sake of this video, since I am an entrepreneur, this is a leadership podcast, I'm going to use success as my example word. Currently, at the time recording this video, I'm recording it at the end. I have not had my session planning my word for 2025, but I'm doing this video because, but I'm doing this video in part to help you and help me prepare for a successful 2025. So my word, like I said, as an example, we're going to be talking about success. What does that look like? What does success mean? Well, when you pick a word like that, you're going to set goals around it. You're going to set a plan, and you're going to think about what exactly that's going to mean for you in that context. So even here is another example. Maybe prayer is your word as a person of faith. Well, in that instance, what does that look like? Is it that you already pray consistently, you just want to pray more or longer, more in depth in that relationship with God? Or is it you don't have a very strong, very active prayer life? And so for you, it's, I want to pray consistently. I want to pray more. I want to pray more specific things. What does that look like? For me, my word success for my business is that I gain 10 customers this year. Is it that I can retain all of my customers from the prior year? Is that I double my business revenue? What is it that defines success for us? So for this example, I'm doing this on the fly. Here's a few examples of what I would use for success. For my business, it's grow the Dyson Leadership Podcast. Have some numbers kind of in mind, what I would like to see, but that would be one goal. I would feel successful if the podcast grows in 2025. If it's not growing, I'm kind of doing something wrong. Let's just be real. But that's one element. I have books that I'm currently writing and working on. Well, definitely in 2025, I want at least one of those published, if not multiple of those published. I would like to see my revenue grow. I have a certain number in mind. It's my target revenue number for Dyson Leadership for 2025. It's definitely, if you're familiar with some books like Good to Great and some of these classic leadership books, the BHAG, the Big Hairy Audacious Goal. My revenue goal for this year is one of those. Am I going to be able to hit it? I have no idea, because it's very ambitious, but it's what I'm working towards and what I'm going to try. Because if success is my word, I've got to push myself. I've got to try. So pick your word, let it come out of your core values, and set some goals, set some parameters around it so that you stay true to it. Now, here's the challenging part. You need to find somebody that helps keep you accountable, or you need to journal. You need to log your progress and have reminders of this word. Because here's the thing that I see a lot of people do. They start off intentional. They start off with good intentions. If you watch any of my content or see me talk about goal setting, a lot of people start off great and then they end. They stop trying. Focus on staying consistent with what you're doing, because too many people start and stop and start and stop. Those who are consistent are the ones who are most successful. So here again, maybe, we'll go back to the faith example. Maybe you're somebody you want to pray. Set aside what that looks like for you. Is that 10 minutes every morning that you set your phone in the other room, you turn it off for a few minutes, and that is your time to get along with God and pray. Make the serious effort to do that every single day. Put your phone away, put other distractions away, set that time aside as sacred so you can focus on what that focus is. Maybe, like me, the example I'm using is success. So what does that look like? Well, can't gain customers by just sitting and doing absolutely nothing. And so if I use that as an example, again, thinking off the top of my head here for business examples, can I sponsor certain things to get out in front of more people? Can I create more digital content, which I'm working on for 2025, to attract new customers and to reach new audiences? Am I able to leverage the customers that I do have for referrals? And then ultimately, can I do traditional marketing and sales activities to grow my customer base? I have, again, numbers in mind. How many customers, what kind of revenue, what kind of objectives that I have for my business in 2025 already. Success is not my word. That's just business goal planning. But if it was, I would be using these goals, these objectives, these numbers, these outcomes to help drive my goal for success. Now, these are things that I might share with certain people, or I might share with different individuals that might help hold me accountable, or just check in, ask me how it's going, what I'm doing. I have people that are asking me about the books that I'm writing. And that's accountability for me because they're asking, am I done? What's my progress? How much longer do I think it's going to take? That for me helps keep me focused that I need to complete what I started and what I'm working on. Now, here's the challenge, is it's not going to be easy. You're going to have times where it gets discouraging. You want to give up. You want to quit. That's when you need those who can encourage you. And you need the reminder to keep doing it. So let's go back to my couple examples I keep revisiting because I think they're just great examples for this. Take the instance of somebody from the faith perspective. They're wanting to focus on prayer more. They start to get distracted. They start to kind of wane a little bit in their resolve to keep that set aside time every single morning. Well, can you set a reminder on your phone that goes off and pops up on your screen that it's your prayer time and you need to go be alone? Simple reminder on your phone, just keep that in front of you. Can you tell your family, a spouse or somebody that that time is what you need to focus on your prayer life? And can they help encourage you and push you to go have that set aside time? If you have supporters and encouragers, it makes everything so much easier. Now, the other thing is, can you set reminders about your word and your intentions in other ways? I referenced the phone reminder. Can you take a sticky note and write your word on it, put it on your bathroom mirror? Maybe you put it on the visor in your car. Maybe you do something else that's something you'll see. You set it on your desk at work, something that you will see that you can focus on so that you will be consistent and do it on a regular basis. Here's what I want you to do throughout the year, though, as you think about this word. Try to be consistent. Focus on having accountability. Focus on those who might encourage you and help you achieve those things, those outcomes. And do your best to remind yourself throughout the year that that is your word. That is a focus you have. It's a little different than goal setting, but it has some similarities. And what I found is people who can focus on one single thing like that, that's more of a vague concept, if you will, that my goal is success, or my goal is prayer, my goal is empathy. I want to be more empathetic. My goal is action. I want to have more action this year. My goal is growth. I want to grow personally, or my business, or my church, or whatever that might be. When you have that more narrow focus, but then you can do all these other activities around that one specific word, it helps you focus on areas where you can be successful. So for 2025, What's your word? Think about it. Determine what your word is. If you're viewing somewhere, you can leave a comment. Let me know in the comments. What is your word that you chose that you're going to pursue for this year? If you're watching somewhere that you can't leave a comment, reach out on social media or find somewhere you can leave a comment. Tell me, what is your word? When you figure out your word, write it down, document it, share it with others, and start to let that be a focus to define your year in a single word and focus on the growth that can come from that single word. So hope you enjoyed this podcast. Be sure to leave me a comment, leave a rating, or subscribe wherever you are viewing or listening to this podcast. It really helps me out, helps me grow, helps me reach more people. Stick with us for 2025. We've got a lot of content coming and a lot of ways we're going to grow and be successful together here on the Dyson Leadership Podcast.